Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer because this one is absolutely wild. Imagine this, all right? 100 people are placed inside a massive red-painted circle right out there on the grass. The rules, they're incredibly simple. If you step on or over that red line, you are out. Done. The last person remaining inside the circle wins $500,000. It's this ultimate test of endurance, willpower, and honestly, sanity cooked up by none other than Mr. Beast. So let's take a deep dive into what quickly evolved from just a basic standing challenge into a completely unhinged psychological gauntlet.
$500,000. I mean, let that number just sit with you for a second. That is life-changing money. We're talking paying off a mortgage, totally erasing your debt, or literally just jump-starting a brand new life. By slapping this massive pile of physical cash directly in the center of the circle, it becomes this literal physical anchor for everybody's attention. Every single one of those 100 contestants is just staring at their potential future, completely, utterly unaware of the absolute chaos they're about to endure to actually get it.
And at the start, man, there was just pure naivety. People had absolutely no idea what they were actually signing up for. Just look at this quote. One contestant literally cleared their schedule for 6 whole months, genuinely believing they were just going to casually camp out in a circle until New Year's. People were actually talking about starting a, quote, hibernating process. They really thought this was just going to be a simple waiting game. But spoiler alert, human nature and, Mr. Beast's game design is absolutely not going to allow that.
Okay, so phase 1, the setup and naivety. Let's see how this breaks down.
So in the early hours, the vibe is basically just a giant outdoor festival. Everyone's hyped. But it doesn't take long for the cracks to start showing. Right out of the gate, the rules of reality get totally warped. One guy looks around, realizes he has a 1 in 100 chance of winning, and just quits immediately. And his reward? He gets a brand new car just for being the first one out. Meanwhile, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, another contestant casually agrees to a single game of rock, paper, scissors with the host, loses, and is instantly eliminated. I mean, just imagine literally throwing away $500,000 on a single hand gesture. The psychological whiplash here is instant.
And the decline in living conditions? It is staggeringly fast. On day 1, they're treating everyone to literal filet mignon steak dinners right next to that giant pile of cash. Morale is absolutely sky high. But by day 2, the harsh reality of sleeping on the cold, hard ground really sets in, with people literally using empty cereal boxes as makeshift mattresses. By day 3, breakfast is downgraded to oatmeal that apparently tastes like wet cardboard, and the circle is intentionally shrunk to force everyone uncomfortably close together. Oh, and they even drop a soccer ball and a goal into the space purely to trick people into accidentally stepping over the line while they're playing. And guess what? It completely works.
Moving right along to phase 2, boredom and psychological warfare.
Once the physical discomfort really locks in, the actual battle becomes entirely mental. The host knows that just standing around gets boring for the viewers, so the environment itself is actively weaponized to break their focus and, frankly, their spirits. It's pure madness. A crew member named Carl drags out these massive speakers and just blasts a 10-hour loop of the default iPhone alarm sound, and when that doesn't work, they switch it up to a 10-hour loop of a man screaming. People are literally waking up in the middle of the night screaming from fever dreams. On top of all that, the circle is constantly being painted smaller and smaller, packing people in like sardines. They even throw in games of Simon Says, where if your knee just brushes the ground, boom, you are out immediately.
Grass ball has taken over my entire mental capacity. I mean, wow. When you completely strip away phones, books, and any external stimulation for days on end, the human brain gets desperate. It searches for literally anything to latch onto. So a ball made out of ripped-up grass suddenly becomes the absolute pinnacle of entertainment. People are genuinely losing their minds just from the sheer lack of dopamine.
All right, phase 3, bribes, briefcases, and balance beams. Things are about to get weird.
By day 7, an entire week into this absolute nightmare, the strategy shifts. If pure boredom isn't going to break the toughest contestants, maybe overwhelming temptation will do the trick. So, Mr. Beast drives a brand new Tesla right up to the circle. The catch? You have to walk on a special rolled-out tarp, ride a loose tire across it, and touch the car without your feet ever hitting the actual grass. If you pull it off, you keep the car, but you leave the game. The remaining contestants literally band together to form a makeshift engineering team. It's like a giant physics puzzle. They balance a guy named Jack on the tire, use their combined body weight to slingshot him forward with momentum, and he actually touches the car without stepping off. It's this incredible moment of teamwork, but remember, the whole point was just to get one tough competitor out of the circle.
And then we have to talk about the absolute legend that is David the Gymnast, who basically found an infinite money glitch in real life. They roll in a mystery wheel and boom, he wins $3,000. Then they bring in this super narrow balance beam for $10,000. And because he's a highly trained gymnast, he literally just walks right across it perfectly to secure the bag. He racks up $19,000 without ever stepping foot out of the circle. Finally, on day 10, he literally shakes a magic 8-ball, asks it if he should leave, it says yes, and he walks away with an extra $5,000 on top. The guy leaves with $24,000 in briefcases and just completely beats the system.
Now, by day 10, the remaining group is subjected to a giant balloon wall of random chance. It is just pure, unpredictable chaos at this point. You pop a balloon, and hey, you might win a go-kart or $2,000. Or, actually, scratch that, you might get a brutal punishment, like being double blindfolded. You might have to crank out 100 push-ups before midnight. You might literally get duct taped to a competitor you don't even like for an entire day. Or be forced to sit in a suspended tire swing all night long without ever touching the ground. It has become an absolute circus.
Which brings us to Phase 4, the tiny grass islands.
So now we are really entering the end game. That giant circle, completely gone. The rules of the game are about to become incredibly physically agonizing. The massive red circle gets replaced by 20 tiny individual grass islands. The 20 remaining people have exactly 10 seconds to scramble onto one. And here is the catch. You absolutely cannot sit down and you cannot leave that tiny little spot. 2 hours in, they are offered $10,000 to just quit right then and there. If they refuse, they have to stand straight up for 24 hours. And then, after a grueling 24 hours of that, the islands are shrunk yet again down to mere outlines of their shoes. It is an absolutely excruciating test of physical stamina. So I really want to ask you directly, what would you do in this situation? A contestant named William is offered $10,000 in cold, hard cash. He hesitates. He jokingly asks if they'll throw in a PlayStation 5 to sweeten the deal. They immediately say yes. So William takes the deal and steps off his island with a massive smile on his face. Would you have that kind of self-awareness to just take the money and run? Or would you stubbornly stand in one tiny spot for an entire day and night, completely sleep-deprived, just to simply stay in the running for the grand prize? Because let me tell you, this final phase is incredibly unforgiving. After literally 24 relentless hours of standing completely still on a tiny circle, the exhaustion really takes its toll. The host literally pulls out a laptop to show a slow-motion instant replay to one competitor, just to show him his agonizing mistake. You got out literally by a single blade of grass. His shoe tipped over the painted edge by literally millimeters. After surviving for almost 2 weeks, he loses $500,000 by a fraction of an inch. Just brutal.
12 incredibly long days, sunburns, sleep deprivation, cereal box beds, 10-hour screaming loops, duct tape, balance beams, constant, overwhelming temptation. Out of the original 100 incredibly optimistic people who packed their bags for 6 months, we are finally whittled down to just 10 elite survivors.
And that sets us up for Phase 5, the ultimate plot twist. So, these contestants have survived the most bizarre and grueling physical and psychological tests imaginable. They really think they are at the finish line, but then the host drops an absolute bombshell. This explainer is actually 2 parts, and this was just part number 1. I mean, I want you to really let that sink in for a second. Those 12 days of sleeping on the dirt, surviving the elements, enduring psychological warfare, and literally standing on foot-sized islands for 24 hours straight, all of that, the whole shebang, was nothing but a qualifier. It was literally just an audition to get into the actual game. Because as it turns out, to actually win the $500,000, these 10 exhausted, completely sleep-deprived survivors now have to compete in the ultimate, ultra-high-stakes game of extreme tag. It is a masterful rug pull that completely redefines absolutely everything we just went through. So after surviving the $500,000 circle, do you think you'd have literally any energy left in the tank to run? Who do you think will ultimately survive and take home that massive pile of cash? Well, until next time, keep questioning the games you play.